Hello. Ever since I was a young kid, I've always been fascinated by the world of offices. The mundane yet fascinating sights really did take a deep hold on me, even up until this day. So I figured I'd make this web series to see if there was anybody else in the world who felt the same way and wanted to learn some things about the mundanities. Welcome to Office Logic, Episode 2, The Humble Water Cooler, and my story about Mayan. I'm thirsty. Hey there. The Solo Jazz Cup was created by Gina Eckes in 1989, but I don't think this is the cup episode. This is the water fountain episode. Some people call them fountains. Some people call them bubblers, especially up here in the Northeast. This is my Farberware cooler. I believe it's an FW 2919. I might be off with that. And I love it. It's got a very classic look to it. It's got storage down below, hot and cold pumps with a water trap. It didn't come with that cup dispenser, but I added it anyways, and, well, it's a top loader, and I like top loaders. There's only one problem, though. Well, if we look at the box, you can see something. The spouts are a bit different. And, well, let's not look at the box. Well, these are the spouts that came with it. Well, they're nice. I don't like them. They're too maximalist. Look at that. A big bulging center bit. A tapered bit with a trim around it. A crazy tip. I don't like it. I much rather prefer these old style spouts. I got these on Amazon in a 4-pack for about like $12. I love the trapezoidal design on the top with the subtle plastic kind of leather texture. It's very strange, but I like it. How do I get it on? Now, when I first got it, the tinkering made, I decided, let's open it up. So I did. I'm not going to show that on camera right now. I am too tired to rip this machine apart. And if I break anything, I'm going to be so angry. Well, anyways, when I looked in there, I noticed something. These are usually connected by a hose, it seems. Or these are connected by a hose. When normally, water dispensers use a threaded pipe. Well, I guess it's a way to save money, but it's a little bit bad because, well, these are threaded. So what am I supposed to do? Well, any sane man, woman, or child would have probably given up right then and there, but I'm not sane, so I did something about it. I bought this. It's a 3/8 to barb adapter. The barbs, you might see these in a high school science class. The Bunsen burner sinks, they've got those barbs that you're supposed to put the rubber hose on. Something like that. Well, I figured, hey, I can use a zip tie, and I can attach the hose, which I don't have with me right here. I'm sorry. And I can thread it in here, and then maybe put a washer between there for extra leverage. And then I'd be able to use these classic nice spouts. There was a problem with that. Well, as soon as I realized that, hey, when I tighten this down, it leaks water and air. I was using, well, this is kind of nasty, but I was using my mouth to suck on it, just to feel if the air was flowing through. And it kept on doing it, no matter how tight or how many rubber washers. And then I realized the water is escaping through the threads. Now, a bit back, I actually went to a plumber's estate sale. It was a shop. It was a big shop in this giant garage, and it's a warehouse. It was awesome. I got a few cool things there, but I got this tiny roll of Teflon tape. Teflon tape is this thin, very soft, and malleable tape. And if you put it on a thread, like this, please give me a second, I'm sorry. Well, it looks a little bit messy, but it makes it ever so thicker, and it gives it a little bit of friction. So when you tighten it onto a spigot like this, it'll stop leaking air. Well, then I was left with a question. Well, I got the water fountain home, and, well, in the Northeast we call it a bubbler, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Well, I got the water fountain home, and, well, I was so excited I bought a big 5-gallon jug of water. I put it right on the top and I realized I have to get rid of all that water somehow, because I am not going to spill that all over my nice floor. So I kept on drinking and drinking and drinking. Over the days, I'd fill up my coffee pot with it, I'd fill up my water bottles with it, but it would never go down all the way. So one day, I was a little bit not thinking clearly, and I just decided, let's just yank it off and towel down the mess. And that's exactly what I did. Now, when you do that, there still is water in the machine. Now, the reason they're called a bubbler in the Northeast is because when the water is empty from the reservoir, which holds the hot and cold and whatever other kinds of water you have, water is fed down by gravity into the machine, creating some bubbles that pop up, and it's all funny. It's nice. I have some very fond memories of screwing around with stuff like that as a kid. Well, I emptied the reservoirs and I got to work. Well, I got to work installing these nice classic spigots, if the camera will focus. I don't know why I like these so much. I just think they look neat, and they're nice. What I had to do was I had to, firstly, go around from the other side and disconnect all the old spigots. And then I put this right there. I put a washer on the back of the barb, and then I wrapped it in Teflon tape, and then I screwed it in nice and tight. I got enough leverage, and then I connected the hose. Now, when I first got it working, unfortunately it started to leak, but luckily I hadn't have a 5-gallon jug on there, because you can just pour water in the very top in order to simulate that. It doesn't really care what you do to it as long as it's getting water. So with a little help from our friend, the zip tie, I was able to do this, and I'm happy with the results. But why did I do it? I can't answer that. I guess I just like them. I like a lot of mundane things in life, if you've seen the first video. A man named Luther Hawes in the 1930s invented the 5-gallon dispenser. It was used in the same way it's used now, for talking around and drinking. Units from around this time, like this Sparklets and this Arrowhead that I'm going to show on screen, you can see that they used a glass jug instead of a plastic jug. They weren't really common until the 1980s to use plastic jugs for this. Here in Massachusetts, in Maine, and the surrounding northeast areas, our company Poland Spring supplied us with 5-gallon glass jugs. With all this esoteric information, it's kind of hard to find anything about it. I did find a nice article, which I'll link down below, which actually pointed me in the right direction for some of this stuff. It's from California, but it did mention the Poland Spring distribution centers and stuff from Massachusetts and Maine in the early 1900s. Fascinating stuff. I recommend you give it a read. Well, because I like everything from the year 2003, which I'll explain in a later video maybe. I personally chose Poland Spring in their classic design. I found one of their jugs from the year at an estate sale, but unfortunately, when I tried to remove the label, it just became brittle and weak. I didn't break it, but I nearly did. So what I did was I scanned it in. And using this cheap roll of sticker paper from Amazon, I was able to faithfully reproduce the Poland Spring label for the 5-gallon jug. There you go. It's not perfect, but I did my best, and I fixed the colors later. I just have to print out a new one soon. While I'm on the Poland Spring tangent, this is their 500 milliliter bottle. It's very nice. Did you know even stone cold mobsters like to drink from this? Take a look at this scene from The Sopranos. Why is David Chase framing the Poland Spring like that? Does it have story implications? Huh. Bravo, Chase. Bravo. Before I go, I just want to say, last episode I accidentally left out a clip. You see, the Gray Nebula, I discovered that because I actually have a table over here. And I'm going to do a little bit more free-form camera work right here. This is my coffee station. As you can see, it's Gray Nebula. Now, I looked up the company, which was School Outfitters, which outfits schools, and I actually found that it's called Gray Nebula. So, It was pretty easy. Well, I hope you have a nice one, and I'm sorry for leaving that clip out. Not that anybody's really watching these. See ya.